Welcome, neighbor. I tell you what, are you not enjoying this weather? Well, it's nice.
And when this weather hits, it doesn't do for me to go to the grocery store. Because everything that has pumpkin spice just jumps my buggy. I ain't gonna say how much I spent on
pumpkin spice,
pumpkin roll, pumpkin creamer, pumpkin blondies, pumpkin donuts. It's a bad time of year for me to try to be healthy.
Speaking of that, it's fall planting time of year, and that's what we're covering today. What you can plant in the next 30 or 60 days. Welcome to the Row by Row Gardening Show, the best dadgum gardening show on the internet, where we talk about gardening, a little bit of cooking, and growing your own food. Now sit back and enjoy. So we've got plants that we're going to talk about today. We've got plants coming in. We're going to have plants for the next probably 3 weeks, somewhere in there.
Till they run out.
Till they run out, and they're selling like hotcakes, but we got a few. We're going to go over each one of those varieties today. But before we do, I want y'all to look at these tomatoes right here. This is an experimental variety that was sent to me. It's actually a numbered variety.
There's not a name?
It's not a name, but it's a number variety. What happens is if they make the cut, they'll get a name. I emailed back to the breeder and told them what a wonderful variety it was for us. It's a great heat-set variety. Very, very little cracking. You can see that one there's got just a tad bit of cracking.
Now these have been on the counter for a week and a half too, and we have had these tomatoes every meal for 2 weeks.
What I love about it, it's a great heat set variety, which we don't see a lot. But the cracking on these is just about non-existent. Good disease resistance. So maybe these will make the cut. Maybe the breeder will have these, and we can get some seeds. It is an indeterminate type, and they do get kind of large. That's the only drawback to them. When I first started eating them, I didn't think the flavor was as good as I thought, but the more I eat them, the more I like them.
I made you something with them. Capri salad. Have you ever had Capri salad?
I have not. Did we get a fork?
We did get a fork.
All right. And Mama Hoss, just what is this?
So it's Capri salad, so it's just tomatoes, basil, seasoning, and
roselle.
No,
is that roselle? What is it?
That's basil.
Basil, okay.
There's some purple basil and some green basil. And then there's just, you can use feta cheese, any type of cheese.
Wow. We've made bruschetta with these in the last few days. We've eaten them for breakfast. We've eaten them for dinner. I mean, I've
had pasta.
Look here, folks. I planted 15 foot of row. I didn't have a lot of these. That is delish.
Very light, fulfilling. Last night we had similar to this and just pork chops. Were you hungry afterwards?
I was not. That's good. It's healthy for you too. So, you know, it's unusual for us to have tomatoes this time of year, so we're really enjoying them. I had another variety that I wanted to carry that was right next to these, and I may still end up carrying them. They did not set the first fruit, and the reason for that was they're not a heat set type. So I had 2 rows of the same type tomato. One of them was a heat set, and one of them was not heat set. Did extremely well. The one that was not a heat set does not set the first tomato. And now these things set fruit, folks, back in August when it was hot. So that goes to show you how important it is. They're still making. How important it is to pick the right variety for the season of the year that you grow them. All right, I have got something new here that's a blade of the week. I know I ain't done many blade of the weeks lately, but folks, I've got one here that struck a chord with me the other day, and I have to share it with everybody. It actually came in today in the mail, and it came in this nice little box right here. Now, I've kind of gotten off knives a little bit because I got a gazillion of them, but I've been on, really? I've been on axes for the last little bit. This brand here is a new brand that I just found called Beavercraft. Now, I'm a pretty big stickler about buying USA made, okay? That's one of my main things there. I will not buy a Taiwan or Chinese made axe or knife. It's just who I am. However, this one is made in Ukraine, of all places, and we know what's going on in Ukraine right now, but this is a very high quality axe, at a very affordable cost. This thing was less than $100. It's got a nice little sheath. They got different models on there. This particular one took a striking for me. Oh, some more on there. It took a striking for me. But look at there. That's called, I believe that's called a bearded type blade there.
I need one for my truck.
Oh, look at this right here that came with it. This is the neatest thing. So this little leather belt loop came with it. So you can put it on your belt.
Yeah. Don't be filming any videos with that on there.
Why?
Hill was doing a video and he had an axe on his waist and they
Dinged it? Really? Boy, I tell you what, this country's getting out of control, ain't it? But anyway, I thought I'd share it. The brand is called Beavercraft, if I didn't mention it. If you're looking for something that's quality, that's affordable, I like this brand. It's the first time I've seen that little sheath right there. Anyhow, I just thought I had to share that with everybody because you may be like me and need another hatchet or axe. I don't have
but like 20?
But like 20 of them. A neat little box that comes in. Look at there. Hand forged, made in Ukraine, which is not China or Taiwan, but they also sell a lot of carving tools, like if you want to carve a spoon or whatever.
And you got into that one time.
I got into spoon carving one time.
You gonna make me a spoon?
That didn't. I found out I didn't have the patience for spoon carving. Maybe when I retire one of these years, I can get underneath the shade tree and carve you out a spoon. But
show the celery we planted a couple weeks ago.
What was it? 2 or 3 weeks ago? Look here. 2 weeks ago, planted celery. Now, folks, celery will test your patience a little bit. It's a slow growing, but I got a good stand here. I think I've got one cell, because you see a little plant there. I got one cell that I don't have any plant in. Now, we got these a little thick. I had to go in there and thin them out. The key there is follow the instructions we gave you when we did this right here. I put this in the dark at about 62 degrees and left it there for 7 days. I misted it every day. Got a good stand.
You put it in the dark?
I put it in the dark, put a tray on top of it.
Oh.
Yeah. Does not need light to germinate, but it needs about 7 days and some cool temperatures to germinate. And I actually got another tray germinating right now. Now you may ask yourself, why do I need another tray of celery? I love growing celery. So anyway, celery can be tricky, but if you do it right, you can get it. And it takes a little while to grow it in, but we love growing our own celery. And that's the Tango variety, by the way. All right, so folks, let's get into the plugs. We just got plugs in.
Yesterday.
Well, Monday.
Yes, yeah.
What's today?
Tuesday.
Today's Thursday.
Oh.
No, we filmed this on Tuesday, but we aired on Thursday. So, we just got them in this week. Let's go over some of these varieties here. And I'm going to talk about what to do when you get your plants in if you can't get them in the ground. So if you order plugs, the ideal thing to is when you get them in to unpack them off this paper right here, just like this right here, and to plant them. That's the ideal thing. But look here, folks, we know life happens and you may not can do that. Now that's the plugs here. And I'm going to tell you which one this is. This is Stonehead Cabbage. There's that plug, folks, and that's what it looks like. Now, these things are allowed to be yellowed up a little bit when you get them. That's okay. The leaves are allowed to be spotted up a little bit. That's okay. You plant them, and they will bust back out and do great. It's just a little bit of the stress of shipping these things here. Back in the day, we used to grow these things, all these brassicas, bare root. We would pull them bare root, and they would last a day or two bare root before we even plant them. So they're extremely resilient. Now, let's talk about the variety Stonehead Cabbage just a minute. All right, it is a hybrid variety, and you know what? It's probably considered one of the easiest ones to grow. It's resistant to many cabbage diseases as far as cracking and splitting. It's an early maturing variety, but it has great holding ability. That means if you're not ready to harvest it, it will give you some leadway there and hold back so that you can harvest it when you want to make a sauerkraut. It's probably one of my favorite things to do. Now, this particular variety is resistant to black rot, fusarium, and tip burn. Days to maturity is 70 days. Now, what does days to maturity mean? Days to maturity means when this seed or plant is put into the ground. In this case, it's going to be from the point you put this in the ground is 70 days before it's going to be probably the whole. The great thing about cabbages, we just mentioned, you got a long window there, you can harvest them.
Right, and they can take the frost and cold.
You know what? I think probably around down to 18 degrees, they can take it pretty well. What happens to cabbage years ago, I'm talking about in the 80s, I remember it got down into the single teens. No, excuse me, single digits, single teens. It got down to single, I believe it was 1983 or 84, it got down, might be 83, got down to into like 7 degrees during the day. And what happened with the cabbage we had back in the field back then, it split the head. The heads would bust and split. So you will get that if it gets down cold, but down to 18 to 15 degrees, they have no problem, they do fine. Now, your plugs are gonna come just like this right here. We put a rubber band around them. And you get a tag, just like that right there, and each one of them to tell you what it is.
So they come in bundles of 10, 20, 40, and 100. And then we've also got a bundle with, you can get 10 of each.
Yeah, we call that the bundle. Now, if you want 400 or 500 plants, all you gotta do is order the 100 plant variation, so you can get however many you want. All right, folks, Blue Ridge Kale. Now, all these are going to look real similar, but you can tell the difference in the kale. Look right here. Look at that pretty plant right there. Kale has that kind of roughly leaf on it right there. Now, Blue Ridge is a hybrid variety. It's known for its color and its leaf. If you'll notice on Blue Ridge, it kind of has that ruffled edge around the outside. And you can't see it on these younger plants, but it'll have more of a red stem right there.
Crinkled leaves.
Crinkled leaves. This is our best-selling kale variety. It's a great one for some of those raw kale salads that you love. We love eating kale. We can eat it all different kind of ways.
We like it in Toscana soup.
Now this one's cold tolerant. It's also resistant to bolt during summer months. So you know what? It's going to be pretty well easy to grow wherever you are. Kale's going to take it down into the teens as well. So you're
it'll take the heat.
It'll take the heat and down to the teens.
Come spring, you'll more likely still have kale.
If you crop it, that's correct. Yep. All right, let me get this one up. Where did my rubber band go there?
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, next one is our biggest seller of plugs. We sell out of these quicker than we do any of the rest of it, and that, folks, is green magic broccoli. If you followed me for very long, you know I love green magic broccoli. And the reason I love it is I like to plant it first in the fall and last in the spring because it has the best heat tolerance. Now I got other varieties such as Godzilla that I love to switch up to on into the wintertime here. See there? See the yellow leaf I was telling y'all about right there? Don't worry about that. You can either pick it off or it'll fall off on its own and it'll be fine. It'll grow right out of that. So if you got a yellow leaf or two on there, do not let it stress you. All right, green magic broccoli here. Heat tolerant as we said here. Slow to bolt. So if we do get some warm weather, this one right here is going to be slow to bolt on you. It's going to be the best one out there, I know, for this time of the year. I don't mind at all. The Emerald Crown's another good one. Godzilla's another good one. But Green Magic is my very first one I planted in the fall.
And it has those round heads, and then it has the shoots that you can get a second harvest.
Right. So after you harvest that big head, you can get some of those shoots off from there. All right. Let me get my notes in order right here. Well, why don't we talk about twister cauliflower, folks? Now, this is a game changer right here. There's starting to be a couple more breeders out there. I got one breeder in particular that was going to send me some plants the other day, and I never did get them. That is going after this twister type, or what they call it wrapping, is the technical term the breeders use. Twister cauliflower. It's a white cauliflower, but the leaves twist around the head till it gets mature out, so you don't have to go out there and manually wrap these cauliflower heads that you do with your old type cauliflower varieties right here. This was a good one right here. Let me get over there to my... Yep, all right. Heavy heads, excellent wrapping, of course. And this is one of the ones that they grow a lot out in California. You'll see in the grocery stores there. But it is my choice on cauliflower right now. Now, we have other varieties that are cream colored and purple and all that kind of stuff. Those are wonderful to grow. But I think the easiest one to grow for the home gardener is going to be twister.
70 days to maturity.
70 days to maturity. And we're going to talk about when we get through here. Do you still have time to plant?
We've already done that.
You've already done that. So I'm on this right here. Uh-oh. Got to talk about this one here. top bunch collards, which is the standard in collards nowadays, folks. Now this is going to be a smaller bunching type. This is not going to be that large leaf type that your granddaddy may have grew. This is going to be that smaller bunch type that you see in the grocery store. They do have a little milder flavor, I think, than those old-time stronger collards do. These things are going to get about this big. You come in there and you can cut them off, make you a small bunch. You can stir fry them up, or you can cook them down like we like to cook our collards here, and they'll come back again if you don't cut them too low there, or you can crop them.
Yeah, that's a
if you crop these things, like Mama Hall said, you got them all the way in the springtime. Top bunch is a very prolific variety here. I think it's got the best flavor of any of them. It's got a cousin called Top Chop that may be just a little more heat resistant.
Show them the whole bundle.
But this right here is by all means the standard of industry right there. See, there's your 10 plants right there. Kind of pick them apart there. And yeah, they're going to be a yellow leaf every now and then, but look pretty dadgum good. So, if you get your plugs in, and the ground's too wet, your place is not ready or whatever, and you got your plants in, but you can't plant them right now, this is what I would do. I would get me some pots, and I would pot these things up and leave them in those pots till I got ready to plant them. Now the key to brassicas is you want to plant them just as deep as what they were. You see that soil line right there? That's how deep these things was planted in the tray, and that's how deep you want to plant them.
You don't want to plant them deeper.
You don't want to plant them deeper like we do tomatoes. You want to plant them exactly like that right there. Put them in some good potting soil, and I wouldn't use a pine bark mix. I would use a good peat moss potting soil. Seed starting mix would be okay. And these things will grow and they'll be ready. They'll hold for you for when you're ready to plant them. If you can get them in the ground, get them in the ground as soon as you can.
And you can grow them in containers.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah. If you don't have a in-ground area, get you some grow bags or like a gallon pot and you can grow them.
Yep. All right, so the longest maturing one we've got here is going to be probably, what's the 70 days on the cauliflower? What's the cabbage? Cabbage is 70 days. Okay, the longest maturing one we got out of this bunch is 70 days. Now let's talk about, do you have time to plant them? 70 days from the time you plant them. So let's do a little math here. Let's just say it's the end of next week when you get your plugs, which is be around, what's today? The 10th? 5th?
10th.
Say you don't get your plugs to the 20th. We're just going to use this for a roundabout time frame. 20th of September. So that gives you the 20th of October, 20th of November, which is 60 days. And that puts you into the 1st of December. We normally, in zone 9 where we at, we have our first frost date around the end of July, around the 22nd November. So you're going to have these plants up and going, and you're going to have them hardened off, and they're going to be in excellent shape to take that frost that comes in 1st of November and be okay. So let's just say your frost date is the first part of November. I still think you got time. You got October, November. You're at probably 50 days when you have that first frost day. You have this plant hardened off and growing well out there, and it's going to do fine. When this plant is first planted is when you got to worry about it getting hit by cold and doing the most damage. Once this plant gets established, it's going to be able to withstand a good bit of cold weather. And we know our collards and our cabbage and our broccoli and our cauliflower taste better when they get a little cold on them. So I think all the way up into zone 7, shouldn't have an issue whatsoever planting these right here in the next couple of weeks. And
if you was to have a really, really bad cold spell, just throw some row cover on.
Throw some row cover on, protect them here. Maybe if zone 6 could get by with it. And if not, plant them in containers where you can move them around. So, brassicas this time of the year.
What about planting them in a high tunnel?
Oh, absolutely. You can plant in a high tunnel. I expect there's people that don't look in zone 5 to get by in a high tunnel. All right, wrap it up.
So we put our inventory on the website on Monday. So if you were to see them out of stock by Thursday, just wait till the next Monday.
Well, they won't be out of stock. We got this new system we're trying to figure out. They actually won't be out of stock. Maybe you may have a little bit of delayed shipping time. So we got another batch coming off this coming Monday. And more likely, if you place your order in the next couple of days, your order will go out next week. Now, if you was to place your order toward the end of next week, it possibly could be another week or 10 days before we get your order out. We got another batch of these coming off. It's probably going to be a couple of weeks. So the latest you would be getting your plants is probably going to be 2 to 3 weeks from this right here. Still plenty of time to get them in the ground. Once we get them in, they get grown off in the greenhouse, and we get them in, we pull them, we ship them. But we got 3 different plants that's coming in.
So these are grown from our seeds.
Grown from our seeds. You're exactly right. Yep. And they grew off pretty quick. I think my greenhouse grower told me 4 to 5 weeks, which is about average on growing brassicas off. So if you want to plant your own, you can absolutely do that. Or if you just want to buy the plugs, you can do that.
And when you get your plugs in, go ahead and open them up, inspect them. We inspect them heavily before we ship them out. If you do have problems, we need you to call us within 24 hours of getting that. If you wait a week.
And folks, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, we're shipping the majority of these USPS. Now, we know USPS can be really good sometimes, and they can be really horrible sometimes. So if you order, and we ship these things on Monday and Tuesday, and they get lost in the process, which can happen, or they get delayed in the process, and it's the following week you get them, and they bad, your plants really look bad, and you can't, just let us know where we can ship them out to you. So you're guaranteed to get good plants. Our hope is within 2 to 3 days, by Thursday or Friday, you've received these plugs, and they're in really good shape by then. Because if they get lost and have to sit out there somewhere for 10 days or 2 weeks, they're going to be bad, and we'll be glad to reship them.
And that's why we're only shipping, what, Monday and Tuesday?
Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bit on Wednesday if they're close by, but the majority we ship is Monday and Tuesday. All right. So we got garden spotlight of the week.
So you didn't talk about the bundle.
Oh, you can get the bundle. You can get one of each of these. Yeah. So you actually get 50 plants. And that's one of our best sellers right there. Is you get this right here. Now you got to have a pretty good bit of room for 50 plants if you're going to plant all those. But you can order the bundle and get 10 of each.
Yeah, share them.
Share them. There you go. All right, so we got garden spotlight of the week. You know, I have to wear my glasses for everything.
You got 2 pair of glasses.
I know. There we go. Put my smart glasses on.
So garden spotlight is James from Lumberton, North Carolina, Zone 8B. And he wanted to tell us about his excellent germination rates. His green boy cabbage was 96, red jewel 98, imperial broccoli 99, green magic broccoli 100. Those Hall seeds are top notch, never growing any other brand again. Thank y'all.
Thank you, James. I got a little something to talk about on seed germination. So I had an issue the other day from a customer that's also a friend of mine that lives out in Louisiana. And he sent me a message on Facebook and said he all his seeds germinated good except his purple Vienna Kohlrabi. I said, okay. So what I did is I went back there and pulled me a sample, and I go to the greenhouse and I plant me some purple Vienna Kohlrabi because I wanted to double check, make sure it wasn't something he did or whatever. And I got very poor germination as well. I got really poor germination. So I go back there to the seed room and I mentioned to them that we're having some problems with purple Vienna because we do these in-house tests if we see we got an issue. And they pulled up the test rate and it had a good germination test. It wasn't very old, which struck us odd, but that happens sometimes. So, okay, so I'm going to do a separate test in more of a controlled environment. So I pulled another sample of the seeds and I germinated them in a more controlled environment at around 60, well, it was about 68 to 70 degrees, 100% germination. Now, why did some of these brassicas germinate out in the greenhouse and the Kohlrabi did not? Well, you would think they would all germinate in the same type of environment, but sometimes these seeds are finicky. Now, we had nearly 100% on this purple Kohlrabi, but in a certain situation, we could not get them to germinate in the greenhouse. I suspect because the temperature was too hot. Now, this was about a little over 2 weeks ago, so we were still having some hot temperatures in the greenhouse. But I got lettuces to germinate. I got other brassicas that germinated, it did fine, but this purple Vienna kohlrabi did not. And I guess my point is to telling y'all this, sometimes those things just happen. We have to change our strategy a little bit. It was not the seeds' fault, which I blamed the seeds after I couldn't get them to germinate, but I just had to change up and do it in a different type of environment. So sometimes those things happen. I was ready to pull the seeds out and throw them away till we found out it was actually not the seeds problem, the way we was germinating them. Some of these things are just finicky, like these celeries. But very seldom do we see that much difference in brassicas with kohlrabi, but we did then. So things happen sometimes. That's the reason we're always learning. But I have found that most of these brassicas love germinating at a lower temperature than it is in August. It's hard to get some of them to germinate in that hot heat air sometimes. All right, the Ole Goat winner, folks. If you find the Ole Goat, you got to put it in the comments below where he's at, and we do a draw next week. Excuse me, next week for this week's winner, right?
Yeah. So let's just,
this week's winner is last week's drawing.
Yeah. So if you find the Ole Goat, put it in the comments where it's at.
Sonja Thompson is the winner.
And she actually is her husband that watches YouTube, but she made sure that she was the one.
She had to put it in the comments where it was at.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Sonja. We'll send us your shipping information
That's
too.
Ray Thompson,
Okay.
I think.
We got their shipping information. They need to send it.
I think we got it.
Okay. All right. So there you have it. And he'll be sporting these right here around. You know what? If you catch him sleeping late one day, you can wear these old dirty socks around, Sonja. But otherwise, he'll be wearing them around, and he'll be the talk of the town.
I think she was wanting them.
She was wanting the socks. Okay.
Yeah.
These, I think they pretty much fit everybody. They're one size fits all.
This Saturday, 14th.
Pedals to the past.
In Jensen, Alabama. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make it. I hate that. Going to miss seeing all our friends.
Miss seeing all of them. But there'll be a bunch of people there. There's going to be some new people there that you may not have seen before. A new friend of mine, Texas Garden Guy, is going to be there.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So he's on YouTube and Facebook, does a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, we, due to some family matters, we had to rearrange our schedule.
Yeah, we're trying to get everything done around here. We've been running behind. I'm running behind in my garden. So we're trying to get caught up on some things because we've had death in the family here recently, and they just threw a wrench and everything. So we're just trying to get caught up, level down a little bit, and get that back to normal.
We got to go back out of town next week.
Yep. All right, folks, thank you for joining us. Man, a lot going on with these plugs, other things. My peas are doing well in the garden. Just gardening is kicking off for the fall garden. I love this time
I've got some sunflowers that's fixing to bloom.
All the plants are happy.
Yeah.
All the plants are happy.
Oh, and my passion flower's coming back out.
I noticed that.
You do?
Mm-hmm. All right, folks, thank you for joining us. Now it's time for you to get outside and get those hands dirty.